Let's begin. I want to talk about. I was watching the news earlier, and I'm going to play a little bit of this report from this black CBS news reporter. Her name is Jerika Duncan. Let's play that, and I'll come back.
It was just late yesterday that the police department released the names of the people who were either injured or killed, which include 13 people. They range in age from 20 to 86 years old. They include people like retired Buffalo police officer Aaron Salter, the security guard at Tops on the day of the shooting, as well as people like Ruth Whitfield, the mother of the city's retired fire commissioner. Many people here in Buffalo.
The three people that were spared, I was one of them.
And Zair's mother calling her son's survival divinely orchestrated. And that's something a lot of people here will be leaning on their faith, Tony.
Yeah. A lot of them saying this place will never be the same. Others saying, well, it will never be the same. It may actually be better. They want to bounce back. It's a resilient community. You lived and worked here for 3 years. It's very hard to summarize a place in just a few words, but what would you want people to know about this area of Buffalo?
I think it's known as the city of good neighbors, and that's what you're going to see more of today. People will be coming out, trying to make sure everyone's okay. I'm talking to community.
Faith, good neighbors, good neighbors. A city of good neighbors where the good neighbor comes in, right, and massacres, right, people, and writes, I hate niggers on his guns, and they use those guns to come in and then massacres people. City of good neighbors. I mean, it's kind of mockery to say that. You know what I mean? Like, really. I mean, like, it's ridiculous for them to keep saying good neighbors, good neighbors. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying not to get my channel struck again, but this is ridiculous. Let me let the rest of this play.
Community organizers right now who are saying they want to make sure that grief counselors are on hand because this was a traumatic event. You had people watch people being murdered, young people, a lot of folks right now just dealing with the violence and the threat that we continue to talk about. To see an 18-year-old sort of radicalized online over the period of the last 2 years during the pandemic says a lot, and it says a lot about.
So right here, she whitewashes the whole thing, right? She whitewashes the whole thing. Let's talk about that, right? So here's the spin. See, this is so you get this black news reporter, right? And instead of really being honest, right, about what she's smart, she's a smart girl, right? She's on the cover of all these different magazines, right? She's supposed to be like this news it girl, whatever, right? That they're pushing out there, and then she comes in and supposedly, I guess she's like the next, Gayle King, right? At CBS. So Gail's up there. She's like in her 60s, so they'll bring her in under Gayle King or whatever, right? And then Gail, a few years down the road, she retires. Then they'll bring her in, right? And everybody knows, but you know her, that Gayle King, is basically just a bootleg, right? And so, anyway, so she comes in and uh, she says, oh, I mean, it's just this bullshit fluff reporting, right, about your faith, and you got to lean on God, and then, all this crap. We're gonna bring in some grief counselors, and then she says, um, he was radicalized online during the pandemic. Boom, there goes the whitewash, right? So it wasn't it wasn't his mother. His mother, she loves black people. She's a humanitarian, right? She supports reparations for blacks, right? She's down at the youth center donating for blacks. She's out trying to help with, black on black crime. His mother and father, right? And his cousins and everybody at his barbecue on the weekends and at the family reunion, right? These are all humanitarians and people fighting for reparations for black people, right? These are all people that's out helping the black community or something, right? They couldn't have been had nothing to do with them. He was radicalized online during the pandemic. This is the shit that she pushes, right? Why? Why is she pushing that? Because, I mean, who the fuck knows if that's true or not, right? So you saying his mother's not a racist. He didn't get radicalized by his mother, his father, his sister, his brother, his uncle, his grandfather, his cousin, right? The people at his school, the people in his town, the people in America, right? She's whitewashing all of them. And then start to make it like it's a mysterious man in a cave in Afghanistan on a computer sent this boy a message, and this poor little boy, right, and convinced him that black people bad, right? Go get some guns and kill some black people. Oh, and then boom, he got radicalized online during the pandemic. He was stressed out about the pandemic. He was surfing the internet. Everybody was on lockdown, coronavirus lockdown. And some prejudiced white man, racist, anti-black white man in a cave in Afghanistan sent this man, he's not a boy, he's 18, he's a man, right? Sent this man a message on the internet, sent him an email or, some videos, or he's like, messaging him or putting something on the messaging board, and he's reading it, and then all of a sudden he became radicalized. He became racist. I guess that's what she mean by radicalized. He wasn't racist. He was a humanitarian who loved black people, along with his family and his cousin and his grandmother and everybody that in his school and everybody in the town that he drove 200 miles from to kill these people. Right? They all not like that. Right? If you was a fly on the wall in their house, they got a picture of Martin Luther King and Barack Obama and Nelson Mandela on the wall in their house, right? And or whatever, and they donating to the United Negro College Fund, and they was about to have a protest for reparations for blacks, descendants of slavery in America, right? And all of a sudden, a man in a cave in Afghanistan or in Tennessee or somewhere mysterious place, because there's no like Tim Scott says, right? America is not a racist country, right? I should pull that up. That'd be interesting to watch right now, right? See what if I can pull Tim Scott up. Right. Let's pull it up real quick. That would be funny to watch. Let's see if I can get it to play. Well, maybe we'll read it. Right. I guess we could read it. So, yeah, let's read it. I guess we'll read it. Right. So we see Senator Tim Scott, a Republican from South Carolina, use his speech tonight in rebuttal to President, and he said America is not a racist country. Right. So that's Senator Tim Scott. Right. Matter of fact, let's just pull it up. Right. Let's just pull a video. I love Tim Scott. I love Tim Scott. He's an interesting character. Right. Let's pull that up. He called for unity. Tim Scott said America is not. So I wonder, how do you look when you say shit like that and then this shit happens? Right? Let's play this. Powerful forces. Speaking of whitewash. I mean, look at this ridiculous man.
their skin defines them again. And if they look a certain way, they're an oppressor. From colleges to corporations to our culture, people are making money and gaining power by pretending we haven't made any progress at all.
Progress.
By doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal.
So black people getting machine gunned in churches and in churches and then supermarkets is progress, Tim Scott. While they give in a rejection of a black agenda or reparations, while they give billions to Afghanis and Israel, which is an apartheid state, right? Racist apartheid state who attacks everybody, right? And then Ukraine, bunch of Nazis running around. They give him 40 billion, right? And then he comes on and says America's not a racist country, right? And then what? A couple of months later, you know, some racist goes in and machine guns black people in the supermarket. I mean, I wonder, does that feel good to you? How much money are they giving Tim? Is that are they give, like how much money do they have to give you to sell your goddamn soul to the devil? Right? I mean, look at this silly Negro, right? I mean, this is ridiculous, right?
You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Right? You heard him. America is not a racist country, right? And then you come back over here to her, right? And she says, you know, she says this bullshit, right?
Right. Okay, so we now turn to something pretty cool.
Oh, sorry.
A very difficult time for this community. It was just late.
Will never be the same. Others saying, well, it will never be the same. It may actually be better. They want to bounce back. It's a resilient community. You lived and worked here for 3 years. It's very hard to summarize a place in just a few words, but what would you want people to know about this area of Buffalo?
I think it's known as a city of good neighbors, and that's what you're going to see more of today. People will be coming out, trying to make sure everyone's okay. I'm talking to community organizers right now who are saying they want to make sure that grief counselors are on hand because this was a traumatic event. You had people watch people being murdered, young people, a lot of folks right now just dealing with the violence and the threat that we continue to talk about, to see an 18-year-old sort of radicalized online over the period of the last 2 years during the pandemic.
So she goes on to say, right, the curveball, right? She does so you have a left wing and then a right wing. So on the right wing, you got Tim Scott, the right wing Negro Tim Scott comes out and says blatantly, America is not a racist country, right? And then on the left wing, CBS is supposed to be a left wing liberal station. She comes out and says, right, in the same token as Tim Scott, right? She comes out and says, well, you know, and then just totally whitewashes the whole thing and says, he was radicalized during COVID online. Says who? Says you? So basically saying the same thing Tim Scott says. America's not a racist country. Somebody from Afghanistan in a cave, right? Maybe an expat who used to live in the United States. It couldn't have been nobody here where this man lived at. His mother, his father, his brothers, his cousins, Joe Biden, his family, right? You know what I mean? His grandfather, like Joe Biden, a segregationist. Couldn't have been nobody like that. Talking about niggers at the dinner table. I hate these fucking niggers. You know what I mean? It couldn't have been nothing like that. Hey, don't strike my channel. I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example. So I don't want YouTube. They keep striking my channel. Because they don't like YouTube. Just like America is racist. Is a racist country. Fuck Tim Scott. America is a racist country. Google is a racist company. YouTube is a racist company. That's why when black people like me talk about racism, YouTube strike your channel. They want to get you in line. Hey, stop talking about that. Don't talk about, you know, certain countries are an apartheid state. Openly or not openly. Right? Don't talk about that. right? We strike your channel. We tell you what to do, right? And then she comes on and says he was radicalized online by a man in a cave sending out emails. There was nobody in his community in that town that he drove 200 miles. She totally whitewashes the whole town, whole situation, and whole thing. He was radicalized during COVID. He was just had too much time on his hands. I mean, this is the kind of shit that black people do for a living. And as long as white people, I told my grandmother that today. You know, she lived under Jim Crow, and I said, as long as white people got, see, Jerika Duncan, this chick, right, probably makes like, you know, $500,000. Yeah, who knows, some crazy amount. I know Gayle King make a lot of money, so she making a lot of fucking money, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably. At least she at least making six figures, right? And so as long as white people have the ability, like Tim Scott, he gets a lot of bribes and he gets tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to come on TV, right, and hang out with racists and KKK members, right? Whether knowingly, you know, whether openly or unopenly, basically, right? In America now, they kind of like the Nazis, but they're just like undercover Nazis, right? Like Werner von Braun, who ran NASA, right? And the other 1,400 Nazis they brought over here from World War II to run organizations, right? America is a Nazi organization. It's just a liberal left-wing Nazi organization, right? All them goddamn Nazis under Operation Paperclip that they brought over here. They went into the NSA and the NASA, FBI, CIA. They integrated them right in. How could you integrate like 14, 15, like, you know, 2,000 Nazis into your government if you're not a bunch of Nazis? You integrated them because y'all just the same. Y'all had a difference in approach, but y'all identical and y'all in a brotherhood. You see? But back to my point, I digress. As long as the racists and the white supremacists can pay black people like Tim Scott and this woman hundreds of thousands of dollars, they'll come on TV and whitewash the whole thing, right? And tell you, America's not a racist country, right? Like Tim Scott, America's not a racist country. Let's play it again. All right, let's play it again.
By doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Okay, you heard the man. America is not a racist country. How much they pay him to say that while they machine gunning black people in supermarkets, right? How much they pay him to say America is not a racist country, right? I'm just saying. You know, how much they pay him to say that, right? And so you got Tim Scott saying now he's a right winger, and then you get this woman, she comes on CBS, right, and says that this man was radicalized by somebody during COVID, sending messages in from a cave, right? And this man, he read it, and all of a sudden, he went to sleep, and when he woke up, he was racist. He became a racist maniac that wanted to go and machine gun black people. This is the type of shit that they pump into black people. And you wonder why there's something wrong with black people in America, right? You know, I'm not gonna belabor the point. I'm not gonna keep this going, but this is just something I watched, and I had to, you know, I was looking at this and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, how could she come on TV and, you know, push this shit? And as long as white people is paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars, these people will come and tap dance and get on TV and say outlandish shit to whitewash the problems of blacks in America. while they slowly destroy black people as a whole in America, while they slowly degrade your families and destroy your families, and they send racists into your families, you know, destroy your children, you know what I mean? Set you up for failure, turn you into a bunch of losers, turn you against each other. You know what I mean? Well, and that's what happens. Then they march out 10 people like Tim Scott, tell you America's not a racist country, and then march out this woman on CBS News to tell you, you know, like they marched Tim Scott out on Fox News and said America's not a racist country. If anybody say that, they just made that up, right? Mind you, he come from sharecroppers and people that lived under Jim Crow, just like me. And then she comes on CBS or CNN and tells you white people are getting radicalized from a unknown person. It's not racism in white communities. There's no anti-black hatred, right? In the town this man comes from. There's no anti-black hatred in Baltimore or Los Angeles or Houston or Dallas or Los Angeles or Canada or Israel or or anywhere. It's some mysterious. What happens is people spend too much time online, and then they the white person, the white man, woman, run across a mysterious psychic racist online who sends them an email, and when they open it, their brain get infected with hate and racism, and then they want to go kill black people. They want to go do fuck shit to black people, right? Or whatever. Oh, okay, that's a hell of a theory. That's a hell of a fucking theory. Like, where do y'all come up with this shit? Right? See, they come up with that because they want to sweep it under the rug. They want to admonish the rest of the people. Right? They want to sweep everything under the rug and cover up the real truth about America. That's why, like, YouTube may strike this channel for this. And it's because they'll say I'm talking hate speech. Like, I'm just Dr. Obvious. You know what I mean? Like Doctor Strange. They're like Dr. Obvious. I'm just stating the obvious. It's obvious that Tim Scott is bullshit. It's obvious that this woman is bullshit. There is no mysterious, unknown groups of races in Ukraine or Russia or Afghanistan or in a mountain in Arkansas on the internet sending messages to white teenagers that infects their brains and then makes them racist, genocidal maniacs. Those people come from them people have families and communities they come out of. That's where they got that shit from. Let's just keep it a buck. Just keep it 100, right? He got that shit at the dinner table. Fuck what you talking about. He got a mysterious email on the internet about racism, and he decided it blew his mind, and he just became a racist. Right? It overtook his mind. Right? Them people. America is fuck Tim Scott and her. America is a racist country. That's why all the immigrants come here. They racist. Most of the immigrants I ever met, I would never trust them. Most of them was racist, anti-blacks. I had one of them call me a nigger and kidnap my son, one of my children, because I got involved with one of his, people. Let's just leave it at that, right? Some shit really he ain't had nothing to do with, right? But he put hands on one of my children and then called me a nigger, right? And kidnapped one of my sons. So they spread this shit to everything they come in contact with. He got that shit from America. Let's just be honest. The shit he did to me, he got from white people in America. He didn't. The dude that did what he did to me, when he took my son and fucked over one of my kids, right? The treatment that they gave me, right? These Hispanic people gave me, that they got that from white people. They didn't get that from a man sending out emails in a cave on the internet. They got it from white people in the United States. You said who? All of them. I mean, Joe Biden, the president right now, is a known racist and a segregationist who eulogized the head of the KKK when he died. I mean, these are just obvious facts. I'm Dr. Obvious over this motherfucker, right? These are obvious facts, so I don't know why they would strike my channel and call it hate speech. Right? Everything is hate speech. It's just, no, it's not that. It's just that they can get away with trying to like censor you from telling the truth. America is a racist country. And this man didn't become racist by accident on the internet during, COVID. So anyway, that's all I got.